Hello, hello, hello. So, I'm probably going to do cherry pie filling a little bit later today, but thanks to our urban homestead, I thought about the potatoes that I have that really need to have something done to them. So I am going to shred them up tonight and dehydrate them. So you won't see the rest of the video tonight, it'll be tomorrow. But what I've done is I went through and I peeled all my potatoes, and when I'm peeling them, I put them in water because you don't want them to turn brown. And then what I do is, when I get them all peeled, then I rinse that out because you want to get rid of as much starch as possible. So I washed them all, and I've got them over here soaking in the sink. I've got my shredding blade on, and I'm going to shred these up. Easy peasy, huh? I love this thing that my sister got me. It works really, really good. So I'm going to shred up all these potatoes, and then I will take you to the next step. All right, now just because I've already had them soaking twice, if you look, the water is still very, very cloudy. So that means there's still a lot of starch left in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it over here and dump it into my strainer, and I'm going to drain it some more and rinse it some more, and then I'll be back. Alright, so now I have everything drained and rinsed, and I've been having the water on the stove boiling. So we need to blanch these for at least like 30 seconds or so. So I'm going to put some in the boiling water. Be careful when you put it in there, because you don't want to get burnt because that water is boiling. And you're going to keep it in there for about 30 seconds and make sure you've got cold water here. I apologize, my camera situations are not that great, guys. So you keep it in here for about 30 seconds. And then you're going to put it in the cold water. And you're going to keep doing that until they're completely done. You want to make sure that every one of them are blanched. And the reason for that is, when I first started dehydrating, I found that if you don't blanch your potatoes, they turn black. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to eat black anything. I don't want to. So your hash browns, they turn out so much more pretty if you blanch them for a minute. So I'm going to give it just a couple more seconds, and then I'm going to pull them out. Drain as much of that hot water off as you can. If you notice, they're a little bit translucent. And I did probably about 7 pounds of potatoes, so I'm hoping that it fills up my 5 trays. I have an Excalibur, and if it doesn't, I'll get my little one out too, I guess. And sometimes it's hard to get all these out, I tell you, because they're little boogers. But you want to put ice in that water because you want to make sure that they get cold, because you don't want them to continue to cook. That's your biggest thing there. You don't want them to continue to cook. So I'm going to put the rest of these in here, and then I'll be back with the next step. Alright, so what I did after I took them off the stove and I put them in the ice water is I dumped them into the sink. I would have liked to show you the whole step there, but it's really hard. My sinks are very, very deep to see anything with, so you missed that part. But I did rinse it for like 5 or 6 minutes because it still has starch in it. So I rinsed it for 5 or 6 minutes in really cold water, and then I squeezed out as much water as I could possibly squeeze out. So now the next thing to do is, let me put my camera down here, is we're going to put them on the dehydrating trays. You know, once I did these and they turned black, and then another time I did them, the very first time I did them, they were perfect. And the next time I did them, they ended up green and molding because I didn't dry them long enough. So you want to make sure that anything that you dehydrate is dehydrated long enough. You know, if it's got even one little wet spot in there somewhere, don't put it in your jars, don't put it in your bags, because if you do, it's going to turn green and you would have wasted all this time and all these steps to do it. So the next step is, obviously I'm going to fill all my trays, and then I'm going to put it in my Excalibur. I'm going to set it for 125 degrees and for 10 hours, and I'll check it after that because it's already like a little bit after 6 here. So I'm going to fill all these trays up, get them in the dehydrator, and then I will show you how I take care of them afterwards. Just like if you look at our Urban Homestead, there is a couple ways that you can save them. You can do it in either, I did them in 2-quart jars, but I liked what she did. She did them in the bags that you can suck the air out of. I always forget what they're called, but anyway, and actually that is a good idea. And you could actually package them up into sizes that you want for your meals. So I think that'd be a really, really tremendous idea. So I'm going to get all these in the dehydrator, set it for 10 hours, and I will bring you back tomorrow when they're done and show you what they look like. And let's cross our fingers they all turned out great. You guys have a great day. Good morning. So now my potatoes are done, and they are now, look at that. They are officially hash browns. So I'm going to follow a way that Chelsea over our Urban Homestead, all one word, how she does it. And she says don't crunch. And actually, that's been my downfall. I want to crunch them and push them down into a jar and do all that stuff, but she says don't do that. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to actually just place them in this bag. As much as I want to crunch them, believe me, it's in my spirit right now to just like go. But she's right. It does get them, you know, a little bit too small. That, you know, it isn't as enjoyable to eat. So I'm going to fill my quart bag here. I'm obviously only going to do one so you guys aren't here all day having to watch me do this. I have the Excalibur, and then I buy these little sheets that stay on here so nothing sticks to it. And it's really easy to clean up. These turned out really, really beautiful. And you know, as long as you preserve them right, they will last you a very long time. And to reconstitute them, basically all you have to do is soak them in water for, I think it took me like, when I made them before, it took like 15 minutes to reconstitute them. And then you season them as however you want to. And you have breakfast, or, you know, for those people that like those casseroles that have the hash browns on it, this works great for those too. Alright, we're going to do the next bag more full, but this way so you're not sitting here watching me do this. You put them in your vacuum sealer. Yeah. And it didn't want to stay down. Look at that. But we'll make it stay down this time. Alright. And then I do my egg noodles like this too. So I want you, this is going to be noisy. I want you to turn it on to take the air out. And that first cracking that you hear, turn it off and seal it. And that way it won't, you know, break up all of your hash browns. And then, of course, you can label them. And there's air out of them, so they're shelf stable. And like I say, these will last a very, very long time if you preserve them right. So there are my hash browns. They are beautiful. I do actually have 10 more pounds of potatoes that are starting to bud out. I've never had so much trouble with potatoes as I have this year. So Tom has an early morning tomorrow. Maybe I'll make some more tonight. I don't know. But anyway, that's the hash browns. You guys have a very blessed day, and most of all, be a blessing to someone else. Have a good one, guys.